Kouguell reporting. The editor of a leading independent Russian newspaper says he plans this week to publish what purports to be an official Kremlin strategy document outlining Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine. Novaya Gazeta editor Dmitri Muratov says the document appears to have been prepared weeks before Ukraine's pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych was driven from office in February of 2014, following weeks of anti-government protests in Kyiv. 2 people were killed Sunday in a bomb blast in the Ukrainian-held city of Kharkiv as government supporters there and elsewhere marked the 1-year anniversary of the overthrow of the former President Yanukovych. Authorities said at least 10 others were wounded. Militants loyal to the Islamic State group are claiming responsibility for bombing the empty residence of Iran's ambassador to Libya. No one was injured Sunday in the central Tripoli attack. A young girl killed herself and 5 others Sunday in the latest suicide bombing in the northeastern part of Nigeria, where government troops are battling insurgents from the Islamist extremist group Boko Haram. Witnesses described the girl as being no more than 8 years old and said she set off the bomb at a checkpoint at a market in Potiskum, where phones are sold and repaired. No one claimed responsibility for the bombing. The U.S. Homeland Security chief says authorities are taking seriously a threat by Somali-based Islamist militants against Western shopping malls. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson was reacting to a video released by al-Shabaab terrorists appearing to call for attacks on shopping areas. The terrorist threat specifically mentioned shopping areas in the United States, Canada, and Britain. This is VOA News. Damascus is calling a Turkish military operation in northern Syria to evacuate dozens of troops and relocate a historically significant tomb and act of flagrant aggression. Turkish soldiers, backed by armor, entered Syria to relocate a historic Ottoman tomb and relieve Turkish soldiers protecting it. The tomb and its soldiers have been surrounded by Islamic State forces. Dorian Jones reports.
Hundreds of soldiers, supported by nearly 100 tanks and armored vehicles, along with fighter jets, crossed into Syria Saturday night. The force evacuated around 40 Turkish soldiers, protecting an historic Ottoman tomb besieged by Islamic State forces for months. The remains of Suleiman Shah, grandfather of the founder of the Ottoman Empire, were removed and taken back to Turkey. Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu described the operation as a success. He said that Turkish forces have been given a directive to protect the country's spiritual values and the safety of armed forces personnel. Dorian Jones for VOA News, Istanbul.
New U.S. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter is in southern Afghanistan to review plans to withdraw U.S. troops from the country within 2 years. On his second day in Afghanistan Sunday, Secretary Carter flew from Kabul to Kandahar for meetings with Afghan leaders and American military commanders. He also met with Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, who said prospects for peace with the Taliban are better now than they've been in more than 3 decades.
The grounds for peace have never been better in the last 36 years. Our approach is productive. We are hopeful, but categorical answers in a peace process are dangerous. The questions are under consideration. The direction is positive. We cannot make premature announcements.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and his Iranian counterpart Mohammad Javad Zarif met in Switzerland Sunday, trying to reach a deal on Iran's nuclear program by a March 31st deadline. They joined talks already underway in Geneva. The round of discussions between the U.S. and Iran's top diplomats and energy officials is aimed at helping resolve ongoing technical disputes standing in the way of an agreement between Iran and the 6 world powers known as the P5+1. Greek leaders worked Sunday on a package of economic reforms to present to the European creditors as part of the agreement to extend the Athens bailout for 4 months. The lenders gave Greece until Monday to present proposals aimed at reviving the country's faltering economy and cutting government spending in exchange for renewing the almost $300 billion in loans that are set to expire next week. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.